Welcome to another episode of Not Your Average Lives. And today I want to talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone. I just got back from a big trip to Utah. In fact, I took a red eye and it left late. So it didn't leave till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And oh my gosh. So I didn't get a lot of sleep, but I kind of have my second wind now. And I want to get this episode out before tomorrow. And also while it's top of mind, because it's all about my trip. And I could have recorded it earlier in the week. I thought about recording it earlier in the week, and I was like, no, I want to let this whole week play out because I might say something different if I'm doing the episode about stepping outside of your comfort zone. My comfort zone, I hadn't really I was stepping out of it big time, but there was still more to step outside of in the time remaining on my trip. So I wanted to see how much more I was going to be stepping outside of my comfort zone. And so this is kind of a summary of me going on this trip and doing things that challenged me, but gave me so much more confidence in myself that I didn't realize that was in there, that the things that I felt that I wasn't even sure I was capable of. And so that has been exhilarating, actually. So yeah, I want to talk about three things that made me really, as I'm thinking about stepping outside my comfort zone, these were three things that were kind of big. All right. So the first thing was traveling to an unknown location alone, someplace. Now I've been to Utah before, but I've never been to the place that I was going. And I haven't been for so long that I don't even remember where I was, the roads, the geography. It was like going to a brand new place, frankly. So I had gone to Utah twice when I was in high school because my boyfriend at the time went to Brigham Young University. And so that's like, can you imagine? That was like 1976. So that was a long time ago. I'm sure Salt Lake City and that area is very different now, but going somewhere that I've never been before in a snowstorm, that's number two, arriving in a snowstorm. Okay, so let me finish number one. So I traveled there alone. I was supposed to go with my husband, but at the last minute, he canceled. So just too busy at work. And because I was going to be, it was kind of like a business trip for me. I wasn't going to have a lot of time to spend with him. So he was going to have to go off on his own and, go see some sights and do whatever he wanted to do. So I don't think he was that happy about not having a companion as he was doing his thing, which I was fine. I didn't get it. I was fine that he didn't want to come. So I went ahead. And in fact, I was kind of even a little glad because I thought, oh, if he's going to be around, it's going to be distracting. So I could really focus on the learning that I was there to do. So anyways, traveling, that was stepping outside my comfort zone because it can be like scary going to a new place and, the whole thing of coming into the, airport and not knowing where you're going to go. And thank God for GPS and just navigating all that in a new place. And I was going to be staying at a place in Sundance Resort. If you've been following my social media, you've seen some beautiful pictures of the snow-covered terrain. But yeah, that was, stepping outside of my comfort zone. Then number two, the snowstorm that I spoke of, arriving in a snowstorm. I knew that it was going to snow because I was checking the weather. And I was grateful that it was starting after I landed and not like in the midst of, I don't like landing on a runway where there's snow everywhere. That makes it a little nerve wracking. But what happened is the place that I was supposed to stay at, because of the snow and me getting in after midnight on my flight, we decided, the person whose house it was that I was staying in, and I decided that it wasn't probably good for me to go to a strange place up a mountain in a snowstorm. So I had to adjust plans at the last minute because we were texting as I was landing and we still weren't sure like what the weather was going to be. And so we decided that it would be better if I just found a hotel room. So thinking, oh, that'll be easy. So I Googled nearest hotel to the airport. And after 4 tries, no rooms. I think what happened is a lot of people who are flying out the next day decided go stay in a hotel close to the airport so I can get out on my flight in the morning. So it left me without a room. And so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to drive closer to Sundance and I'm just going to find a hotel there. So I was kind of winging it. And that's a little uncomfortable. That's definitely outside of your comfort zone, in a strange place, not having a place to stay and trying to figure it out, and in a strange car, because you know how all rental cars are different. And this was, I had rented an SUV, thank goodness, but it had a key fob. And I'm not used to the kind of like, you just carry this key fob and then you punch this button and it starts the car. In fact, one time I got out of the car and it was still running. I went in to get a Starbucks coffee and I'd taken my key fob with me, but I totally forgot to push the button to stop the car. And I get back to the car and it's still running. And I'm like, you're nuts. I don't think you could steal a car though, if the key fob isn't in it. So who knows, but luckily nobody tried to steal it. So I arrived in a snowstorm and had to figure out where to stay. And fortunately I found, but this was like, my flight didn't even get in until after midnight. So by the time I actually got and sat into the bed to sleep, it was 2 a.m., which was really 4 a.m. by my biological clock, because had been Eastern time and this was Mountain Standard Time. So yeah. So, but that worked out well. So I was able to find a hotel room, and fortunately it was just raining in the valley. So it was snowing in the mountain. It just wasn't in the valley. So I was only having to deal with rain. It wasn't too bad. So number 3 is going really deep on knowledge, like going and this might be hard to understand, but because I am always a seeker of knowledge and I'm always learning new things, but I'm always learning in kind of an independent format. It's kind of me consuming, me reading, me studying, me taking an online course, but like not being tested really. I mean, if I'm tested, it's like self-evaluation type of thing. So this going deep on this new knowledge was actually being with one of my mentors and being one-on-one with him and getting tested by him like repeatedly. And so going through lessons and then getting tested and being evaluated. And I haven't done that for so long. It's like being back in school where you're really challenged on the information that you're learning. And so that was probably even more so than traveling to an unknown location alone and arriving in a snowstorm and having to deal with like adapting. This, like being in a room with somebody that you like have admired and has like you've been working with for a year and a half, and you get this opportunity to work one-on-one with him, and then you're like tested. So like he's gonna know, like it was just this fear. And that's what happens when you step outside your comfort zone. You're dealing with a lot of fear. And there was this fear. What I've discovered is this a fear of failure. Like we think we avoid stepping out of the comfort zone, or, you know, like it would have been a lot easier for me not to go. It would have been a lot easier for me to just stay home and just do what I do and take the easy way out with gaining knowledge. But I would never have gotten the knowledge that I got if I didn't go and meet him in person. It had to be this environment of this intimate environment where he taught me in person. So I wouldn't have had this opportunity online in a virtual format. It wasn't possible. So yeah, so I went for it. I took the risk. Maybe I'll look stupid. Maybe I won't learn it like I want to learn it. Maybe it won't be like my mentor has a gift. So I'm just going to actually tell you who he is. And like, you can look him up on the interwebs. So Alex Paulos, he was on a previous episode. I'll put the episode number in the show notes, but he's going to come back on in I think, couple weeks. I'm going to try and get him before Christmas. But anyways, Alex Paulos, and he is the inventor of the Paulos personality typing method. And I met him because he was on a podcast that I heard from my business coach, and I immediately wanted to get typed. And so when I got typed, it was very transformational for me. So I brought him so he helps my students. He does typing for my students. It's part of like the package when you sign up for the second half Spark School. So he has this gift, and he has a couple of people on his team that also do the typing, and they are just so amazing at what they do. And he was born with this gift, and he kind of formulated this methodology about 10 years ago, which was really crazy to me, that he like woke up. It was like came from his intuition. He told me he woke up one morning and he had this framework in his head and he jotted it all down. He showed me the original drawing that as soon as he woke up, he like put pen to paper. And it was like 2013 that he wrote this down. And it was really crazy. It's a complicated model. You think it's not just like an easy model. It's very complicated. It's many layered. But anyways, he has this gift, and he doesn't train. I mean, he does not offer this training to many people. So we've obviously built this relationship over a year and a half. And I reached out to him because I wanted to help my clients, my students, at a deeper level. So they get typed by him. And then I also offer like a Q&A session with him, which is a kind of a group format. But after that, he's gone, and they can do a one-on-one with him. They can sign up and pay to do a one-on-one with him. He does one-on-ones, and that is through Zoom. But I wanted to have the ability that he does to coach at that deeper level. And he basically takes people, and he can tell what your inborn personality is. He can tell whether if you're self-actualized or you're living in self-denial. And when you're living in self-denial, you're basically you're not showing up in the world as the person that you're meant to be. You're showing up as who you think you should be, maybe to try to please others or to do a job that you think is the right job, but it's not the right job for you. So it's making you operate in a way that you shouldn't be operating if you're living your true identity, if you're living your authentic self. And so he can just read people. He can just read people and say they are not self-actualized, and it's his mission to help people be self-actualized, because when you're self-actualized, you come from a state of joy and you light up the people around you. And so it's exactly what I want to do. Is my mission is to do the same thing as he does, but I don't have the gift that he has. I don't have the talent, the innate talent. And so I would have to get taught, right? And some people even they don't pick it up. So they even if they want to learn it, it might come harder to them. So, and I had no idea. I had no idea. Am I going to be able to do this, or I'm not going to be able to do it? And it's going to be in front of him. And I adore him, and he's been such an amazing mentor to me. And I'm like, is he going to think like I'm a loser? Is he going to think, well, he would never think I'm a loser, but is he going to think that she just like doesn't have it? She doesn't have that knack. It was a big risk of, how am I going to be seen? But it meant so much to me to just challenge myself and to make an attempt to learn this at a deeper level. So that going deep on this new knowledge, but it was new knowledge in kind of like a format that I haven't experienced for a long time, where you're actually being graded in a way. I mean, he didn't give me A, B, C, D, but the fact of like, I had to get the answers right and wrong when he was testing me. And so he didn't write it down, but like he knew he could, as we were going through the lessons and I was getting them right, then he would, he was like, wow, yeah, you got that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And so it's like, and then when I didn't get one right, I was like, the competitor in me comes out. So I just, from this trip and that experience, gave me so much confidence and made me realize that stepping outside our comfort zone is something that we should really practice on a regular basis, because I don't think do it enough. I don't think that you avoid doing it because you feel it's a little unsafe out there outside the comfort zone. But when you do it, it's like an exhilarating feeling. And talk about abundant. I mean, I talk about activating abundance, doing those things, traveling in this unknown place, dealing with a snowstorm, actually two, because there was a snowstorm the day I left as well. And, overcoming the fear of like driving in, like when I got there was like over a foot of snow. And then there was the other storm was like 8 to 10 inches, and just like having to deal with that and not be freaked out about it was like, I was like impressed that I was okay with it. I was so impressed that I was so okay with it. I only got scared once when the car slid and I thought I was going to go down into this ravine. But anyways, I didn't. And I'm glad of that. But, and then going so deep on this personality typing and realizing that I actually have this gift that I didn't know I had. And if I'd stayed in the safe zone, I wouldn't even know that. If I had stayed in my comfy, cozy, I don't want to go. Oh, it's too scary to go someplace by myself. Oh, it's going to snow. Oh, so easy to cancel if there's going to be a snowstorm, right? And the other thing too, it's not just going to an unknown location. The house where I was staying at, the person, I mean, he's an acquaintance. I don't even know him really that well. He's a friend of a friend, and like I know him he comes in and golfs once a year with one of my husband's golfing friends. But still, it's like, sometimes it's people. Fortunately, I'm an extrovert, so meeting people and connecting with people isn't that scary to me. But yeah, going to an unknown place and then, just having to adapt to a lot of new things, new location, new house to stay in, new like weather, new knowledge, new. I was like exploding with all the newness and outside my comfort zone. So what I want to commit to is, because this experience, like I said, activated so much abundance in me, that I'm so abundant with like of my like capabilities at my age. I think part of me was also like, I didn't know if my brain was capable of retaining information, was capable of analyzing information, and then connecting with Alex. And just like, he made it such an intimate, like mentor to student relationship, that it was just so amazing. We went to a mall and people watched, so I could do the typing in front of him and he could like assess it. So it was really crazy that not only like this so much outside the comfort zone happened, but like this, like, you can do this stuff, like that this stuff exists that can help people in such a deep way. And I'm just also exhilarated that now that I can, like, I know something that can help people and can really transform people in such a significant way. And I'm so grateful that Alex trusted me and that he took me under his wings, and that, and this was just part one. I'm not done. So I have to go back to Utah. I'm going to go back when the weather's warmer. So I'm not going to go back when it's going to snow. So that is one thing. So maybe it'll be a little bit more in my comfort zone if there's no snow, but that's okay. But yeah, it made me realize how much fun it is to challenge ourselves, to challenge those beliefs that we have that, we might not be so capable. And so what happens when those beliefs we allow them to control our actions, we stay inside our comfort zones. And so I wanted to do this episode because I wanted to share this experience that I had. And I wanted to raise a question of like, have you done something to challenge yourself lately? Because I think like by having my own online businesses, like that's a challenge. It's a constant challenge, stepping outside my comfort zone, doing new things and trying new things. But like this was at a different level. And it made me realize that a lot of stuff I do isn't so scary, but this was like on a level that I haven't felt for a while. And it was so worth it and so amazing. I want to live more outside my comfort zone. It's a place that I want to visit more frequently. And so, and I realized that the learning that I do is kind of safe learning. It's kind of like nobody's watching learning. And when I'm in like this kind of learning really made me step up, and it made me realize like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Our brains are brilliant. And if we have the desire and we have the interest, because it's this stuff fascinates me. It made me realize that since I was a child, I had this instinct. And, I talk about how we get so busy with life and we don't sit in silence enough, because when you sit in silence, you connect with more of your innate abilities and skills and gifts. And when there's so much noise, you create this block. And so I've had this block my whole life. And you used to think, oh, I don't even know if I have any gifts. I don't think I have any gifts. Well, think about it. Or how noisy is your life? How busy are you that you don't know your gifts because you're blocking your gifts? And so there was this time that I spent and really realized that it's late in life to realize my gifts, but I have them. And that was another cool thing, that getting outside my comfort zone made me realize that. And for that, I'm so eternally grateful. And I just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about the future and what's going to come and how I'm going to use this gift to help more people. So all I want to say is challenge yourself, step outside your comfort zone, and let the silence be a part of that, and then find out what comes up, and you'll find your gifts. But it's going to require something different, and it's not inside your comfort zone where you're going to find that. So share with me, like leave a review if you like this, connect with me on social media, and tell me how you're going to challenge yourself. What are you going to do to step outside your comfort zone? And it doesn't have to be going to a different city in a snowstorm. It could be something different. It could be going to an island where it's sunny and warm. So hope you enjoyed this. And I will say it's really great to be home. Home sweet home. All right. Until next time, talk to you later. Thank you so much for tuning into the Not Your Average Lives podcast. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you have an Apple device. You can find free resources and learn what else I have going on at the moment that might interest you on my website at notyouraveragegrandma.com. You can also find me on Instagram or Facebook at notyouraveragegrandma. If you liked this episode, it would make my heart so happy if you could leave me a 5-star rating. You can also add a review to let me know what you like about this podcast, which will help spread the word about it to others who need a little midlife inspiration. As always, be you, listen to your inner voice, and focus on reigniting that lost spark so you can start living your own, not your average life.